Greetings and welcome to another installment of Age of Empires Castle Siege Tutorials. I am Dice Gods, and in this episode we'll be moving on to Age 6 attacks, which is the first age in which it is possible to make use of hero combinations. You unlock the second hero slot, in case you didn't know, from the university. And by age 6, you should have your university at level 4 so that you can research that technology. Also, trebuchets become available, and they are one of the most potent units in the game. You unlock them, of course, from the Siege Workshop, which should probably be at level 4, 3 or 4. Get it up. I think you need to have it at level 4 to get the trebuchets. Now, at age 6, the number of heroes you have available is probably going to be somewhat limited. I highly doubt you're going to have them all unlocked at this point. Now, as I've mentioned in earlier installments, you should have Martel unlocked and leveled up, as he is the most powerful hero in the game. And I would strongly recommend that you make a point of unlocking Conrad early on. You can get him at age 5, though at level 1 he is not particularly useful, but once he is level 2, then he becomes a force to be reckoned with. Now, almost any hero works well with Martel. My favorite is Winrich von Niprode. He is a great force multiplier to use with Martel. His rake ability can take down multiple clusters, multiple towers if they're clustered together. Nevsky is another one that works well, and in fact the Martel-Nevsky combo may very well be one of the most popular hero combos in the game. Here we don't have either of them yet, and who I have been making use of primarily with Martel is Edward, who is a very potent hero. Before I had him unlocked, I was using John Kirkuas here, who is a decent hero at age 6, though I don't make much use of him once I start having more third-tier heroes available. So what I want to do to start here is start with army composition as it relates to the attacks we will be demonstrating. The first attack I want to touch upon is the Ram Rush, which is one of the most popular attacks in the game. This utilizes Conrad's Siege Rush ability. And the hero of choice I like to use with him at this age is Joan. Nevsky is another great choice if he's available to you. Saladin and Nicephorus also are not bad choices, as they benefit from Conrad's Siege Rush ability, though I find that Joan or Nevsky are better options. I actually think that Joan is the better choice of the two. Nevsky at level 1 is good, but he's kind of slow, and also he only gets 1 Scorched Earth, whereas Joan gets 3 Converts. And I find that the ability to convert the enemy's defensive units to my own cause is an excellent way to augment my force. Since the Ram Rush attack utilizes so much of the army camp space with rams, it's nice to have those additional units that Joan provides, and of course has the added bonus of attracting these forces from the enemy's defense. Now, I like the Ram Rush to consist of 14 rams. This will depend, of course, upon how well upgraded your army camps are. 4 fully upgraded army camps gives you 56 slots and will allow you to make use of the army composition I'm going to show you. If yours are not fully upgraded, cut the rams down to a dozen maybe until you have the army camp space you need. Now, I like to have 4 spearmen and a Chirosophon in all my armies to deal with the initial rush of what is usually cavalry from the guardhouses and or patrol points. Also the watch signal relief troops that come. With the Ram Rush, typically what I will also do is 8 heavy infantry, 6 ladder invaders, usually 2 long bowmen. Let's see here. For some reason I didn't do that with this replay, it looks there. 2 long bowmen. And then I mix it up a little bit now and again, maybe like 2 Teutonic Knights, 1 Teutonic Knight and a cavalry. The cavalry is nice because it can help with those outlying buildings that sometimes get stuck off in the corners or what have you. I have played around with adding like maybe like a 15th or 16th ram, but usually like one TK, one cavalry, in and around there, something like that is best. But as far as the spearmen, the laddermen, and the infantry go, that's pretty solid. I almost always, very rarely mess with that particular composition, or almost always have that in my army. Anyway, I guess let's just go ahead and watch some replays, and I'll show you how I go about things here. Let's just start with any one of them, I guess. It doesn't matter. They are all pretty much variations upon a theme. So, as always, with any attack, regardless of what I'm using, I like to lure the enemy's defensive units out. Maybe even try and spring whatever traps might have been there. Apparently there wasn't a fire trap there, which is probably what I was trying to do. Now what I'm doing here is, once I have all these units out and about here, there goes Joan, bam, now they're mine. And what I'm going to probably start doing, yep, here we go, is deploying the rams in a line 2 at a time. And as I deploy each pair of rams, I set them to a target, to target a tower. Each one of these is going to be targeting a tower, and then it's eventually what I'll do is deploy, well, I don't know, it doesn't look like I did it this time, but usually I will set like a 2 pair for the castle just to make sure. So there goes Conrad. He should be deploying or activating his siege rush ability any second here now. There he goes. And of course, as you can see, Joan has been converting enemy units to my cause. And now I'm going to deploy the infantry to go in there. They're going to start wreaking havoc, looting resources, also drawing fire. They take reduced fire, of course, from towers, so it's good to have them running around. And then eventually, yep, here you go. Once I start having flame towers and crossbow towers taken out, then I will deploy the ladder invaders to go in there and help with the emplacements. Now, the siege rush ability will wear off pretty quickly with Conrad only at level 2. And what you're going to want to do is retarget these rams once they've taken out their initial towers. Rams can be tricky. They like to wander off. They like to do crazy, stupid things sometimes, and you really kind of got to keep on top of them. Sometimes it's like herding cats, but if you can stay on top of them and get them to stay on target and then get redirected to their secondary targets, you shouldn't have any problems achieving 3-star victories more often than not. I'll also go ahead and speed things up here. We know what's gonna happen here. Once all the defenses are taken out, usually for the most part by these rams, it's just a matter of mopping up, and that is exactly what's going to occur here. And there it is. All right, let's show a couple more. Just oh, here you go, 67 crowns. It's a nice score for an age 6 attack. Okay, there goes the infantry. They're going to run along the wall. This is something I do regardless of what kind of attack I am making or what units or heroes I'm using. I always run a heavy infantry along the wall to do exactly that. Set off those fire traps, caltrops too as well sometimes. Let's see here. What are... Seems to be the delay here. I must be thinking about something. Oh, I was waiting for the watch signal. Okay, I got it. And that's not a bad idea with Joan. Go ahead and wait for that watch signal if you've set it off with your initial infantry scout there, setting off the traps. May as well. So, Okay, I think I'm trying to lure those Teutonic Knights over, but I guess that wasn't going to happen. So again, here we go. Deploying the rams in a line. That's what the longbowmen are for. Once those engineers come out, if they do, longbowmen take care of them nicely. The rams are, of course, deployed in pairs, each pair targeting a tower. Then Conrad gets deployed. And there they go. Then there will come the flood of ladder invaders to help with the emplacements once the rams are drawing fire. There goes Joan setting off her convert. I think that's how I wound up with those Teutonic Knights there. Nice. Now, again, once the primary targets have been taken out by the rams, you're going to want to redirect them to secondary targets. That's what's going on here. Let's go ahead and speed things up, I guess. You know, one thing about this particular castle, maybe I should touch upon that real quick here, this concentric layout. In our next installment, I'm going to talk about castle design and defenses. There you go. So basically what you have is, with the ram rush attack, what I like to do, I like to, as with every attack, lure the enemy's guardhouse and patrol point units out. Okay. Run a heavy infantry to try and set off any fire traps along my preferred line of attack. And I like to deploy my rams, quite a ways back from the castle to give me time to target towers with each pair by starting off as far back, maybe usually along the edge of the map. I'll deploy 2, target a tower, 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 then deploy like 3 or 4 and set those at the keep. That gives you plenty of time. And what you're going to be doing basically is, if you start at the edge of the map as they deploy and you follow along, so that by the time you get to your last pair, you're going to be deploying much closer to the castle. This keeps them nice and fairly tight, so that they're all well within Conrad's siege rush ability range. You don't ever want to have your rams out of range of his ability, so that they don't get that bonus. Alright, I think what we'll do is that'll be sufficient for now. That gives you an idea how the ram rush works. In the next installment, I will demonstrate maybe some different attacks with, like, say, Martel and Edward or what have you. Alright, this is Dice Gods. Thanks for watching. See you next time.